Well, hello, Sarah. Thank you
Hi.
so much for joining us today and letting the residents really of Deerfield know a little bit more about what some of the offerings you have here at Deerfield in regards to therapy options, if any of the residents were ever to need them. So we are here in the therapy clinic within the health center here at Deerfield. So question for you, Sarah. What types of therapy do you and your team offer here?
Well, thank you, Justin, for having me. We're excited that we can show you our therapy room. Again, my name is Sarah Burch. I'm the Director of Rehab, and we offer occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy.
Okay. That's a lot of different therapies. Maybe one sentence that kind of alludes to what those different things are, those different types of therapies.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am going to have the physical therapist and the occupational therapy and the speech therapist go more into that. So when we do introductions, I would love them to kind of explain more because it's their expertise. And so I will let them kind of share what they do. But I will say that my job as a director is I structure, organize, and deliver therapeutic care to all residents with continued communication with the therapist, and then also with all the different groups that we have here, such as the MDS coordinator, activities, dietary, the administrator. I'm trying to think if I've left anybody out, but that's my role as a director.
Yeah.
And so when we get to them, they'll share their role.
That's perfect. That's
Okay.
great. And so I know obviously you help a lot of the residents that are here within in the health center and higher levels of care, in residential care, assisted living.
Right.
But are you also able to help residents that live independent and independent residents?
Absolutely, absolutely. So how the process works is we first start out with a physician order. So for instance, if a patient or a resident in IL goes to the doctor's saying, hey, you know what, I think you would benefit from physical therapy, they will write an order. So once we have the order, then what we do is we get verification of insurance, and then the therapist can actually go to any of the residents that live in the townhome, IL, AL, RCF, and here at the health center, and they will do the evaluation.
Wow, that's really, really cool, because I would bet that majority of our independent residents, maybe travel and they go to a physical therapist in some remote area, within
Sure.
the city. But if they're aware of those opportunities, I think that hopefully will be helpful, and that you guys put a name to the face and have that familiar location. So
I think it's really exactly to piggyback on what you were saying. What's really nice is that our therapists can go to you. They can go to the resident. They don't need to leave their townhome. They don't need to leave their apartment. We can bring a lot of the modalities with us if that's something that's on their plan of care. But that is the benefit of having therapy in-house, is that we can go to you.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic. So let's talk medical here.
Okay.
What would you say are some of the most common treatments you and your team are working on or helping with?
That is really, that can be a really broad
Very,
answer.
very broad, yep.
Just because everyone has their own unique individual concerns. I know a lot of times it's just weakness.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be something on all of our plans of care, is that we're working on strengthening upper body and lower body. But of course, each plan of care is what's the word I'm thinking of, is individual for that resident. So I'll let the PT and OT kind of elaborate more on that, on what they do as their treatment plans, but it depends on the individual.
Yeah, that's perfect. And as I kind of stand here, and you alluded to it a little bit before, is this thing called modalities, and those are things that can just help with treatments for the residents. But as I kind of stand around, I think that what would be really fun for our residents to see how they all work and have the experts talk about them. What do you think?
Sure. So,
hey everyone, my name is Megan Karamanlis. I'm the physical therapist here at Deerfield. So in physical therapy, we focus on improving and restoring strength and mobility. So this can address things such as knee pain, hip pain, back pain, or just overall strengthening and weakness, or addressing weakness. One of the tools that we use for this is the New Step. The New Step can be used to strengthen both your arms and your legs, and it can be used to help build cardiovascular endurance. We really like it as a tool to help improve, again, overall strength and endurance for carryover in activities like walking, biking, and things like that.
That's great. So we know that we have a couple of new steps in independent living, which get used quite a bit. Would you say everyone could use a new step?
I'd say, generally speaking, yes. Almost everyone is able to use something like this. Some of the nice things about this machine are it's adjustable levels, so you can change the resistance on it. So if you're having a tired day or just a little bit less strength in your legs or arms, you can turn that level down. And if you want a harder workout, you can turn that level up as well.
Okay, yeah, and that's one thing I have seen residents do, and I think it's great, and I really enjoyed the New Step, is if you have a lower body weakness, using and focusing more on your legs, as well as upper body weakness, focusing more on your upper body. Do you think that's safe for people to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to focus only on strengthening the legs, you can use only the leg component of it, or if you want a total body workout, you can use the arms as well. It's nice to have those options for people who may have limited motion in their arms. They can forgo the arms and just focus on the legs as well.
That's great. So one last question for you. Obviously, this isn't going into people's homes,
Correct.
but you do.
Yes.
What would you be able to do that would address some of the weaknesses, upper body, lower body types of things for residents?
Within their homes, you mean?
Yes.
So we usually set people up with various exercises to help strengthen the legs and then the core as well, because that usually helps with overall stability, with walking, with getting up in and out of chairs, in and out of bed, and to help address pain as well. So we usually do exercises with the resident or the patient, and then we set them up with exercises that they can do on their own as well, so that they have carryover beyond what we do in therapy.
That's fantastic. Megan, I really appreciate your speaking on the New Step. And again, we have two in independent living. So residents that are watching this or tuning into this, make sure to get down and use it, because obviously you see the benefits.
Absolutely.
And so do I. So again, Megan, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
Hi, I'm Danielle Frazier, an occupational therapist here at Deerfield. Don't worry, I'm not trying to find you a job. The goal of occupational therapy is actually to help you live life to its fullest, and that means continuing to participate in activities that are meaningful to you, or what we call occupations. Often we see people struggling with pain in independent living, and we can use different kinds of modalities to help address the pain. Here we have the diathermy, and basically it's this big drum that we put over. It's for larger areas of pain like shoulder, hip, knee. We just put the drum over the area of pain, turn it on, and it sends signals into the body to help with pain management.
Wait, does that hurt?
You don't feel a thing.
Really?
Really. It has two different modes. We can do thermal and non-thermal, so it's safe on artificial joint replacements as well.
Wow. And what's the overall goal with that machine itself?
Well, when we're using the thermal settings, we're looking to improve circulation, soft tissue flexibility to help with range of motion and pain.
Oh, very neat. So I've worked in physical therapy clinics. So, and I've used an ultrasound machine before. Similar? Different? A lot?
Similar.
Okay.
Here we also have ultrasound, and it's meant to work on a smaller area of pain to target to kind of localize the pain. So if you're having pain in your wrist, in your elbow, we'll be more likely to use the ultrasound.
Okay. And obviously, as I look down here, they're on wheels. So that means that you can just take it right to somebody's apartment. and
Yep,
help
they're
them.
very portable.
Very cool. What else do you have sitting on your table there?
So in addition to treating underlying ailments like pain, we also want to restore your function in occupational therapy, and by doing that, we can use different tools. I'm sure many of you have seen these reachers. So we can use different tools to help compensate for limitations, and we can also adapt your environment to help make things more safe and easier for you.
When you say adaptations to the environment, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to, we can rearrange things in your cupboards to make them easier to reach. We can install grab bars, tub benches, shower chairs, and different things like that so that it's easier for you to get around and do things.
That's very, very cool. That's really, really neat. I love that, you know, the residents here and you know, both in the health center, RCF, AL, as well as independent living have at their fingertips such knowledgeable individuals such as yourself that are able to, you know, help all residents, you know, manage pain, and then also you being able to improve their lives, make sure that they're safe within their own homes. So that, I think that's fantastic, and I hope obviously with part of this video is residents realize that they have that at their fingertips right here at Deerfield. So
Yeah, ultimately our goal is to keep you where you're at as long as possible.
yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I thank you so much for taking your time out of your day as well to share your wisdom and discuss what other modalities and everything else that this wonderful clinic has to offer. So thank you so much.
Yep,
So,
thank you.
you bet. And we got another-
Hi, my name is Jillian Day, and I'm the speech language pathologist here at Deerfield, and I have been here for just over a year.
So Jillian, what do you have? What is this machine you're standing next to?
This is called Synchrony, and you know, as a speech therapist, I work on a lot of different areas. The name speech therapist is kind of a misnomer. I do work on speech. I work on any issues or difficulties with voice. I work on cognition and just overall memory, and then I also work on swallowing and swallowing disorders. So this is kind of a cool gadget or tool that we have that helps with knowing how your swallow is going. So essentially, this machine kind of hooks up and reads what your muscles are doing. So when we're doing exercises to help strengthen your swallow, it can give you feedback on how you're doing and if your swallow is strong enough, if there's different muscles that we need to work on and focus on. So there's a lot of cool different ways that we can use this to help strengthen your swallow and make it easier to swallow, because as we get older, it's just one of those things where you think about how your arms and your legs get weaker as we get older, but it's, you know, important to remember that the muscles that we use for swallowing and for speaking can also get weaker too. So this is a machine that helps us strengthen those muscles again.
It's really interesting. I never would have thought that there are exercises to do to help us with swallowing.
Yeah, so just like you would work with physical therapy or occupational therapy, and they have exercises to give you to work on all those muscles, there's exercises that I can provide people too, kind of depending on what problems they might be having, that strengthens those muscles and makes it easier to swallow. You know, especially things like Parkinson's, ALS, all those different disease processes that can kind of mess with our muscles a little bit more. Yeah, I've been able to use this with a lot of people so far. It's really pretty interesting.
That's really, really cool. And I think that, again, that's the other thing that's really, really neat about here is, as I pan down here too, it's on wheels. So that means that you could, if somebody needed to, within independent,
Oh yeah,
you can bring it right to them.
absolutely.
I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. So when it comes to a speech language pathologist, you know, obviously a resident wouldn't need to, they would be in pain or something like that, where they would get a prescription from a doctor. How would they go about that if they needed something, you know, that maybe a speech language pathologist, how do they find and determine that maybe this would be a good option for them?
Absolutely. You know, again, talking about the muscles with swallowing that get weaker as we get older, our memory, a lot of us start to have trouble with that too. So one thing that I would recommend is if you're noticing like, hey, I'm starting to have a lot more trouble remembering things, which by the way has become more and more common this year because none of us are as social as we got to be before the whole pandemic happened. So if you're starting to notice maybe lapses in memory, or there's different things that you can think of like, hey, you know, I usually handle my own medications and I'm starting to have a little trouble with that, but I like being independent. As a speech therapist, my favorite part of working with people is being able to make sure that you remain as independent as possible. So talking with your doctor and saying, hey, I'm noticing that I'm having memory issues, can you give me, I think they just write up an order for speech therapy and they can send it here to Deerfield and I can work with you in your apartment. So yeah, any kind of memory issues, or like maybe you're noticing a little pain with swallowing, feeling like things are getting stuck in your throat, maybe coughing when you drink water, or like with certain different diseases too, hey, I'm noticing that my voice is way softer than it used to be. There's exercises and compensatory strategies that I can teach you as well to work on that. So talk to your doctor, let them know what you're kind of running into, and they could give you an order to come and see us. Or if you just have some questions and say, hey, you know, I would like Jillian to come talk with me to see if she thinks I even need help, then you can just contact our therapy department and I would be more than happy to come up to your apartment and visit with you for a while and answer any questions that you have.
Wow, that's really fantastic information. So, Jillian, thank you so much for showing us this. Now, I do also see another fun screen over here.
I can talk about
All
that.
right, Miss Sarah is going to talk about
Yes.
this fun screen. So
Yes.
again, thank you, Jillian,
Thank
for
you,
that.
Jillian. So this is a really awesome piece of machinery. It is actually called an Omni VR, and the VR stands for virtual reality. And so I took some notes because it does so many awesome things. So it actually is a system that incorporates a 3D camera. So as you can see, here's the camera here, and it actually captures what the residents' movements are. So it's interactive. So let me give you an example here. Let me just pull it up here and show you kind of some of the different exercises. Let me get to the main screen, the classic menu here. So we can work on sitting exercises, standing exercises. We work on ambulation, gait, standing balance. We can work on upper extremity exercises, wheelchair mobility, also cognition. And then there's also these are just some standardized tests that we can do. So what's really nice about this is that residents don't even realize that they're exercising, and so we can actually exercise longer and harder and get better functional outcomes.
Very neat. That's a really impressive machine. And again, one thing that I keep noticing is pretty much everything is on wheels.
Yep.
So is that something that you could literally take to someone's home and do it in their home?
We could.
You
We
could?
actually we could move it around. It is mobile.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really impressive with
Thank you.
just different things that you're all able to do here. I think that's such a underlying, we should have we have a decent amount of underlying issues that probably could be addressed that I think people just don't maybe really know where to turn and look to. So I think that hopefully with this video, and again, the purpose of this was to make sure that residents are aware of what opportunities that we have here. Because I think, again, especially with the pandemic, they don't get to see your faces as much while in and out of the community.
Right.
And now I think, hopefully, again, with this, the purpose of
Yeah.
the video is to learn that, hey, I have this right here at my home, and they can come to me. That's fantastic. It's cold outside. It's going to be -1 degrees out.
Right.
So I
why
don't want
not
to
come to
go.
you?
Why not
Exactly.
just come to my house? So
Exactly.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. So,
Thank you.
I just wanted to, take this moment to just really kind of thank all of you and your team, and how it would be, or what is the best way for residents to reach you?
So the best way to reach therapy is call the health center and ask for the therapy department. So anyone who calls the main desk, we have a direct line, they will transfer their call right to therapy. Even if you have any questions about therapy, you can always call the nurses station as well, and they can give you any information.
That's great. I hope people do utilize your guys' talents and your expertise, and hopefully, again, that we see everyone's lives change. So
Me too.
you guys do tremendous work, and I thank you so much for allowing us into your homes, because this is your home. This is where you
It
guys
is, it's where we spend 8 hours a day or more.
That's right. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Justin.
and we'll see you all later.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.